Okay, people. So I decided to check out Please Don't Destroy the Treasure of Foggy Mountain. I remember hearing about this and I was curious, right? It is directed by Paul Briganti, written by Martin Herlihy, John Higgins, and Ben Marshall, aka Please Don't Destroy. Okay. It is produced by Jimmy Miller and Judd Apatow. It is executive produced by Paul Briganti, Josh Church, Sam Hansen, Martin Herlihy, John Higgins, Ben Marshall, M. Riley, and Michael Sled. Co-produced by Albertina Rizzo. Amy Doherty handled the music. Isaiah Dante Lee was on cinematography. Daniel Gabe edits the piece. Bruce Curtis, production design. Art direction, Chris Cornwell. Christy Suffield is set decoration. Emily Gunshaw even is costume design, right? And our cast. Okay, so Martin is played by Martin Herlihy, John played by John Higgins, Ben played by Ben Marshall. Right? Ben's dad, Barley, is played by Conan O'Brien. Right? Um, Martin's girlfriend, Lisa, is played by Martin's girlfriend, Amy, is played by Nicole Secura. Then there is our park rangers, Lisa, played by Megan Stalter, and Taylor, played by Mayo. We have got Deech Nordwind, played by Bowen Yang. Right, there is Poppy, played by Chloe Trost. Trisha, played by Sunita Mani. Gates, played by Cedric Yarborough. Right, Dylan, who works with Martin, played by Jordan Mendoza. Julia, played by Liz Dimon. Gaeton Matazuro, right, plays himself. A younger version of John is played by Marcel Nepatine. A younger Ben is played by Trevor Barrett Noble. And a younger Martin is played by Maximo Macefield. Now we've got Jane, played by Jamie Lynn Watson. Cameron, played by Cameron Christopher. Captain John Pierre LaRoche, played by Rick Espelita. Right, the priest, played by Stephen Starkwater. Yeah, that's probably our main lot of people. The gist of the story: when three friends who live together realize that they don't like their life trajectory, they set off to find a gold treasure that is rumored to be buried in the nearby mountain. I mean, that's kind of it, I guess. Right, this is it's a comedy that I think when you think of some of like the great comedies, right, the great kind of adventures, from the past, you know what I mean? The ones that are so funny, but they're like edgy, right? I mean, you think of things like fuck. My head has gone completely blank. Super bad. Jeez. Like super bad, man. How fucking funny is super bad? Right? Was it Fred and Mary make a porno? The Kevin Smith one? Yeah, it's not Fred, is it? It's something and Mary, right? But funny as fuck. You know? Dogma. right? You've got Chasing Amy. Just there's so many good comedies, right? Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, like, and there's many that I haven't mentioned. But right, they push things to the edge, and it's great. It's hilarious. And I think what we've seen recently is a lot of films trying, right? But they don't want to push it too far, right? And it just comes off a bit just stale, played out, right? A bit too obvious, phoned in. And for me, that's what this comes out as. Because we have this group of friends, but you don't it's that weird thing where they don't actually do things that friends would do. I mean, it's like when you watch Friends, they were all kind of sabotaging each other. You're just like, yo, you ain't friends. What the fuck? You know? And that's with these people. They just didn't seem like friends. It's just like what, because you're in your late 20s, right? If they're teenagers, it might make a bit more sense, but they're in their late 20s. So, you know what I mean? Like going, oh, you've got a girlfriend. That's bad. You want to, progress in your job. Oh, I can't believe it. Right? It's weird. You have jokes. Like, you know what's going to happen when someone's throwing eggs. I mean, it's just like, okay, right? Yeah, all right, I get it. Just, like, oh, we're not going to buy you beers, we're going to beat you up. And you just, okay, so, when we cut, it's going to go to, right? You know what the next scene is going to be. So we just have all of these things that are just like, your jokes are way too obvious, you know? Like we have like this whole sexual tension, love interest situation, which I mean, it makes no sense why it doesn't go where it would go, like naturally, you know? And then you have the people doing certain things, but but in the end, where we're gonna end up with it. But it's just like that's such a weird route, right? Such a weird route, right? Oh my god, the wardens, right? The park warden situation is a weird one, right? It's just a weird one. Like we have these bits of stories that don't really gel together. It's like there was initial idea, oh, let's make a goofy comedy. That will be awesome. We're all friends. We'll get our friends to come together. But then essentially, everyone on this, you know what I mean, seems to have worked together on something else, you know what I mean, or being part of SNL, or, so they're all friends. So, how great would that be to be able to make a movie with all your buddies? I get it. I get it. But it just doesn't. It, it's like the initial idea isn't strong enough to carry for 90 minutes, you know? Like we have the weird cult situation, which you're just like, wait, what is this? What are we doing? You know? Like just the way information is then, relayed, and it's like, oh no, now they know, like, ugh. It's like you just know, okay, they're messing around with, so that means it's just too predictable. It's too predictable, and the jokes, like the whole eagle thing, is weird. The dick thing is weird. There's a bit where someone basically, I mean, I'd say they out themselves as a pedo, right? But it seems like someone else knew they were a pedo, but everyone's fine with it. I'm just like, wait, how are all those people fine with hanging with a pedo? If I knew I'm hanging with a pedo, I'm beating the fuck out of that motherfucker. You understand? It is bizarre. It is bizarre. The oversized suits, I I'm a bit baffled by it all. But you know, it's not for me. But that's fine, right? I feel anyone that really, you know what I mean, dug stuff like Ricky Stanicki, right? Ricky Stanicki, the slumber party, prom dates. I think that's this level of humor. So if you really enjoyed the humor in those films, you will enjoy the Treasure of Foggy Mountain. You know, I guess if you like Please Don't Destroy stuff for SNL, you will like this. You know, it's a bit like unfrosted. You know what I mean? I think you get what I mean when I say that, right? A lot of friends working together. It doesn't quite mesh. Doesn't quite mesh, right? It wants to be something like Bottoms, right? That's the big thing with this. You feel it wants to be a bit like Bottoms. It wants to be a bit like Joyride. Was it Joyride? The one from Lionsgate with the girls and they go and the tattooed pussy, right? That, oh my gosh, that film was so fucking good. So like Joyride was a return to shit like Superbad. You know what I mean? Zack and Miri, that was the name of it. Zack and Miri make a porno. Yeah. Um, but yeah, it wants to be that. It wants to be polite society. You know, The Machine, right? Those films just, oh, they were funny, they were edgy, and they didn't pull the punches, right? So it wasn't crazy obvious of where they were going and what they were doing, which, and that's what works, you know? So you can see that you know, Please Don't Destroy. You can see what they're trying to do. You know what I mean? You can see what they're trying to do. You can see what their inspirations are, but it just didn't quite work for me. But again, if you're a fan of Ricky Stanicki, prom dates, the slumber party, you know, that kind of stuff, then boom, you will have fun with this. Okay. So it's out on all major VODs. I watched it on Now TV. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Please Don't Destroy the Treasure of Foggy